Salem's Lot, the 1979 movie adaptation of Stephen King's novel, is a chilling and atmospheric horror film that effectively captures the eerie essence of the source material. Directed by Tobe Hooper, this TV miniseries was ahead of its time in creating a sense of dread and fear. The movie revolves around a writer, Ben Mears, played by David Soul, who returns to his hometown of Salem's Lot to confront his haunted past. However, he soon discovers that the town is plagued by vampires, and he must fight to save the town and its residents. What sets this adaptation apart is its slow burn tension building. The eerie atmosphere, coupled with a sense of impending doom, keeps the audience on edge throughout the film. The cinematography and use of shadows and darkness add to the ominous ambience, creating a feeling of unease that lingers long after the movie ends. The cast delivers strong performances, especially James Mason as the enigmatic Mr. Straker and Reggie Nalder as the haunting vampire Kurt Barlow. Their portrayals contribute significantly to the film's sinister tone. While some effects might seem dated by today's standards, the storytelling and the performances remain compelling. The movie successfully taps into primal fears, showcasing the vulnerability of a small town overrun by supernatural forces. Overall, Salem's Lot from 1979 remains a classic horror movie that effectively captures the essence of Stephen King's novel. It's a must-watch for fans of atmospheric and suspenseful horror films. One of the standout aspects of Salem's Lot is its attention to character development. The film takes its time to establish the townspeople, making their inevitable transformations into vampires all the more impactful. It's not just about the horror of the supernatural. It's about the horror of seeing familiar faces turned into monstrous creatures. The sense of dread is palpable throughout the movie, aided by an evocative musical score that heightens the tension. The haunting theme adds depth to the already ominous atmosphere, emphasizing the lurking danger in every scene. Moreover, the movie doesn't rely solely on jump scares or explicit gore to frighten the audience. Instead, it employs a psychological approach, leveraging suspense and the fear of the unknown to create a sense of terror that lingers long after the credits roll. Tobe Hooper's direction shines in creating a foreboding environment. He masterfully uses the setting of a small, isolated town to amplify the feeling of entrapment and vulnerability, making it seem like there's nowhere to hide from the encroaching darkness. Additionally, the adaptation remains faithful to Stephen King's novel while making necessary adjustments for the visual medium. It captures the essence of the book's themes and characters, pleasing both fans of the original story and newcomers to King's work. Overall, Salem's Lot is a classic horror gem that stands the test of time due to its atmospheric storytelling, strong performances, and the ability to tap into primal fears. It's a testament to how effective horror can be when it focuses on building tension and creating a haunting ambience rather than relying on excessive gore or cheap scares. One of the film's strengths lies in its exploration of the concept of evil lurking within a seemingly peaceful and familiar setting. Salem's Lot is not just a town besieged by vampires. It's a metaphor for the encroachment of darkness into the mundane, symbolizing the fragility of safety and the potential for evil to manifest anywhere. The movie delves into the psychological aspects of horror, exploring the characters' fears, vulnerabilities, and the internal struggles they face when confronted with supernatural forces. This adds layers of depth to the narrative, making the terror more relatable and impactful. Furthermore, the film's pacing allows for a gradual buildup of suspense, giving the audience time to become invested in the characters and their fates. It's this investment that amplifies the stakes and makes the horrifying events all the more unsettling. The practical effects, though dated by today's standards, contribute to the film's eerie charm. The transformation of familiar faces into vampires is chillingly portrayed, adding a visceral element to the horror without overshadowing the psychological aspects of the narrative. Moreover, the movie's ability to balance multiple storylines and characters without losing its focus is commendable. Each subplot adds to the overall atmosphere and contributes to the escalating sense of dread, creating a cohesive and immersive experience. In essence, Salem's Lot is a timeless horror classic that transcends its era. Its exploration of the human psyche, coupled with an unsettling atmosphere and strong storytelling, cements its status as a must-watch for horror aficionados seeking a more cerebral and haunting cinematic experience. Salem's Lot earns its acclaim as a compelling adaptation due to several key factors. Faithfulness to the source material. Despite the constraints of adapting a novel into a visual medium, the film remains remarkably true to Stephen King's novel in terms of its characters, major plot points, and the overall atmosphere. It captures the essence and themes of the book while making necessary adjustments for cinematic storytelling. Character depth and development. The adaptation successfully translates the depth of King's characters onto the screen. Viewers get a nuanced understanding of the townspeople, their fears, relationships, and vulnerabilities, making their transformations into vampires all the more impactful. Atmosphere and tone. The film retains the eerie and foreboding atmosphere of the novel. Tobe Hooper's direction and the cinematography effectively create a sense of dread, using lighting, setting, and music to build tension and suspense, aligning with the unsettling ambience of King's work. Balancing horror elements. It strikes a balance between psychological horror and visceral scares. While there are moments of visual horror, the film largely relies on psychological terror, making the audience fear the unknown and the implications of the supernatural more than mere jump scares. Strong performances. The cast delivers compelling performances that breathe life into King's characters. Actors like James Mason and Reggie Nalder bring a haunting presence to their roles, adding depth to the antagonists and enhancing the overall impact of the story. Expanded visuals. The visual medium allows for a different kind of engagement with the story. While the book builds through imagination, the film brings those descriptions to life, offering a new perspective on the horrors within Salem's Lot. Ultimately, the adaptation's success lies in its ability to implement the core elements of King's novel while leveraging the visual and auditory aspects of filmmaking to create a haunting and memorable experience for both fans of the book and newcomers to the story. One significant aspect that enhances the adaptation is how it navigates the challenges of translating a dense, multi-layered novel into a limited runtime. While some adaptations struggle to condense expansive narratives, Salem's Lot adeptly selects key elements from the book, maintaining the narrative's coherence without feeling rushed or disjointed. The film succeeds in capturing the essence of the town itself as a character, an entity plagued by a malevolent force. It skillfully establishes Salem's Lot as more than just a backdrop but as a living, breathing entity with its own history, secrets, and darkness, mirroring the novel's portrayal. Additionally, the adaptation doesn't shy away from addressing mature themes present in King's work, such as loss, fear, the corrupting influence of evil, and the struggle between good and evil within individuals. These themes are interwoven into the storyline, adding depth and emotional resonance to the horror elements. Furthermore, the film's impact on popular culture and its lasting influence on the horror genre are noteworthy. Its portrayal of vampires and small-town horror has left an indelible mark, inspiring future works and contributing to the enduring fascination with supernatural tales set in seemingly ordinary places. Moreover, the production design and practical effects, while dated by modern standards, remain effective in creating a haunting visual landscape. The eerie imagery of fog-shrouded streets, the haunting Marston house, and the unsettling transformations into vampires contribute significantly to the film's chilling atmosphere. Overall, Salem's Lot from 1979 stands as a testament to the power of adaptation when done with care, respect for the source material, and a keen understanding of what makes the original work resonate with audiences. Its ability to capture the essence of King's novel while standing on its own as a gripping and atmospheric horror tale cements its status as a classic in the realm of cinematic adaptations. Salem's Lot follows the story of Ben Mears, a novelist haunted by a traumatic childhood experience in the small town of Salem's Lot. He returns to confront his past and find inspiration for his writing, only to discover that the town is besieged by a dark and ancient evil. Upon his return, Ben reconnects with locals like Susan Norton, a woman he forms a romantic bond with, and encounters the enigmatic Richard Straker, a newcomer who opens an antique store with his business partner, the unseen and mysterious Kurt Barlow. Strange occurrences start to unfold as people begin to disappear or fall mysteriously ill. As Ben delves into the town's history, He realizes that Barlow is a vampire, and Straker is his human assistant, facilitating Barlow's feeding and spreading of the vampiric curse. The horror escalates as the vampires multiply, turning some of the town's prominent figures into bloodthirsty creatures of the night. Ben, along with a small group of allies including a local teacher Matt Burke and a young boy named Mark Petrie, takes a stand against the growing vampire threat. They undertake a desperate battle against the undead, seeking to save themselves and prevent the spread of vampirism beyond Salem's Lot. They face personal sacrifices and the terrifying realization that anyone, even those closest to them, could fall victim to the vampire's insidious influence. The climax unfolds at the long-abandoned Marston house, where Barlow has established his lair. In a gripping showdown, Ben and his allies confront Barlow in a fight for their lives and the future of the town. The struggle culminates in a climactic showdown between good and evil within the eerie confines of the Marston house. Ultimately, the survivors must come to terms with the traumatic events and the loss of loved ones as they strive to rebuild their lives, forever changed by the horrors they've faced in Salem's Lot. Watching Salem's Lot is a must for several reasons. Atmospheric horror. It excels in creating a chilling atmosphere that lingers long after the movie ends. The eerie setting, ominous music, and slow-burn tension build a sense of dread that's both compelling and unsettling. Stephen King's classic tale. For fans of Stephen King's work, it's a chance to witness one of his earlier adaptations brought to life. It captures the essence of King's storytelling prowess and his knack for portraying horror in everyday settings. Character depth. The film takes time to develop its characters, making their struggles and the impact of the vampire threat more emotionally resonant. You'll find yourself invested in their fates, adding depth to the horror elements. Iconic vampire story. It presents a unique take on vampire lore, depicting the spread of vampirism in a small town and the ensuing battle between the living and the undead. It's a compelling addition to the vampire subgenre. Cinematic influence. Salem's Lot has had a lasting impact on horror cinema, influencing subsequent vampire tales and small-town horror narratives. It's a piece of cinematic history that has left its mark on the genre. Psychological terror. Instead of relying solely on jump scares or explicit gore, the movie leverages psychological horror, making you fear the unknown and the implications of the supernatural, a style that appeals to those seeking a more cerebral scare. Classic performances. James Mason's portrayal of Mr. Straker and Reggie Nalder's haunting depiction of Kurt Barlow add depth and menace to the film, contributing to its enduring appeal. Whether you're a horror enthusiast, a fan of Stephen King's works, or simply seeking a spine-chilling tale that delves into the psychological aspects of fear, Salem's Lot offers a hauntingly immersive experience that stands the test of time.